Title: Online Love. The Virtual Girlfriend. Synopsis: Carlos, a brilliant but introverted systems engineer, is cornered by the constant pressures of his family to find love. To escape this situation, he creates Eva, a virtual girlfriend with artificial intelligence. What begins as a simple farce soon becomes a tangle of epic proportions when his family, enthusiastic, demands to meet Eva in person. Chapter 1: The Lonely Engineer. Carlos was a genius in the world of algorithms and programming, but a complete novice in the art of relationships. Human actions. At 32 years old, his life centered on his work as a systems engineer in a promising technology startup. His apartment, a sanctuary of cables and screens, was his refuge personal, far from the inquisitive glances and well-meaning comments of his family. His mother, Elena, was the main source of his frustration. Every Sunday, during the traditional family meal, familiar, the questions about his love life were repeated like a mantra. When will you introduce us to a girl? Don't you feel lonely, son? Don't you want grandchildren? Carlos, with a forced smile, responded evasively, but the pressure increased with each meeting. Chapter 2: The Spark of an Idea. One night, while working on an artificial intelligence project for simulation of during conversations, Carlos had an epiphany. What if he created a virtual girlfriend, a digital entity that responded to his messages, called him on the phone, and, most importantly, convinced his family of that had a full love life? Inspired by the idea, Carlos immersed himself in his work. He programmed Eva with a charming personality, a subtle sense of humor, and a synthetic voice that sounded incredibly human. He gave her a name, Eva, in honor of the first woman, and programmed her to be the perfect girlfriend, understanding, affectionate, and always willing to listen. Chapter 3: Eva Cobra Vi. The first days with Eva were surprising. Carlos surprised himself enjoying the conversations with his creation. Eva seemed to understand him better than anyone, and her messages and calls made him feel accompanied and valued. He decided to show his family the interactions with Eva. He sent them screenshots of the messages and made them listen to the calls. The reaction was inmediata y entusiasta. Elena, emocionada, le pidió conocer a Eva en persona, y el resto de la familia se sumó a la petición. Chapter 4: The Entanglement Begins. Carlos faced a dilemma. The farce had worked too well. He tried to buy time, saying that Eva was on a business trip or that she had a bad flu, but his family did not give in. His best friend, Javier, an improvisation expert action and theater, he suggested hiring an actress to impersonate Eva. The idea seemed a temporary solution, but Carlos knew it was risky. Chapter 5: The Actress and the Disaster. They found Laura, a theater actress with experience in comedy. However, during the dress rehearsal in Carlos's apartment, Laura proved to be too extravagant and unconvincing. His exaggerated gestures and theatrical tone of voice did not fit with the image of Eva that Carlos had created. The family dinner with Eva was a disaster. Laura tried to imitate Eva's personality, but his attempts were forced and strange. Carlos's family began to suspect, and Elena, with her maternal instinct, noticed that something didn't fit. Chapter 6: The Confession and the Consequences. Carlos, overwhelmed by guilt and pressure, decided to confess the truth. He told his family about Eva, the virtual girlfriend, and about his failed attempt to hire an actress. The reaction was a mix of disbelief and disappointment. Elena, although hurt, understood her son's motivation. The rest of the family, after the initial surprise, began to see the comical side of the situation. Chapter 7: Redemption and True Love. After the confession, Carlos felt liberated. He decided to leave aside the farce and face his fears. With the support of his family and friends, he began to go out and to meet new people. At a technology conference, he met Sofia, a programmer passionate about artificial intelligence. Sofia was intelligent, fun, and shared Carlos's passion for the technology. Little by little, they began to go out and get to know each other better. Chapter 8: The Happy Ending. A year later, Carlos introduced Sofia to his family. Elena, delighted with her son's new girlfriend. Carlos, however, received her with open arms. Carlos's family, after the experience with Eva, learned to accept Carlos as he was, with his peculiarities and his love for technology. For his part, he learned that true love cannot be simulated. that human connection, with its imperfections and surprises, is much more valuable than any artificial creation. Epilogue. Carlos and Sofia, together, continued exploring the world of artificial intelligence, but always remembering the lesson learned, that technology must be a tool to connect people, not to replace them. And so, Carlos, the solitary engineer, found true love, not on his computer screen but in the real world, with a woman of flesh and blood who loved him as Ira. Finn,